listening to Mondays with Mike Martinez.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mondays with Mike. Today, my guest is my wife's cousin, Joseph, which means that he's my cousin, and I gotta add one of my favorite cousins, don't tell anybody else. But Joseph has an interesting story. He's one of my most consistent collectors and closers in our big deck collection agency. Joseph, let's introduce you. Talk to us about where you grew up. How was life growing up as a kid? What did that look like for you?
Well, I grew up in La Puente. I was born and basically raised in La Puente. You know, I had a family, my mom and my dad. They separated when I was 3. So I had a good life. And when I was growing up, it did start a little rough because we had to go back and forth with my mom, 1 week with my dad. But other than that, you know, just growing up with my cousins, being around my family, it was pretty good.
It was pretty good. So I have an advantage because I know a lot about him. He's one of our closest relatives. We do a lot of things together. You know, we celebrate New Year's together for the last few years. We celebrate a lot of holidays together. You know, we go out and off-road on Labor Day. We've been to, you know, Cancun several times and, you know, partied out there, Vegas. I mean, you name it. He's one of our closest cousins. So I have an advantage because I know a lot about his background. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull out some of his background that is going to be interesting to some of you for the sake of inspiration, because we're your typical Mexican Americans, you know, of Mexican descent from Mexican parents, born in the United States, specifically in California. So it's going to be interesting. And if you notice that we're recording today, our studio is the gym. There's a reason for that. Last year, Joseph decided to take his fitness serious right around the time when I built our own personal family gym. So that's the reason why we're live today from the gym as our studio. And we're going to talk about that too. So Joseph, you said growing up in La Puente, and for those of you that don't know, La Puente can be kind of rough. It's not as bad as East LA. It's not as bad as, you know, back in the days, Compton and all those really rough areas in LA. But La Puente can be tough. So was it tough growing up, Joseph, in La Puente? What was your experience?
It was tough being around, you know, the culture out there. By the time when I was growing up, it was a little rough because of the territories out there. There was like gangs and we were all around that. But other than that, you know, it was cool being around my family, being with my family. It was,
so
got by.
What was the relationship like between your mom and your dad? So his dad is my father-in-law's brother, and that's how we're related. He's my wife's first cousin. And again, him and his brother and his family are very close to our family. Our families are very united. His dad and my brother-in-law are brothers. So we spend a lot of time together. Anytime we have, you know, a carne asada or 4th of July at our house or anything like that, his dad's always with us, and, you know, we're interacting as a family, spending family time together. So what was that relationship like between your mom and your dad growing up?
Well, growing up, I mean, they separated when I was about 3-4 years old. And then, you know, being raised, my dad being born in Mexico, my mom being born over here in America. So we were Mexican Americans, you know. We had 2 different sides of the families that we had to, you know, go and live with, and it wasn't rough. I liked it. Honestly, it taught me a lot of things, you know, growing up with the family that's separated when we were younger.
It made you tough.
It made me tough.
All right. So I don't know if a lot of people know this or not. You may not know this, but my dad passed away when I was 7 years old. My dad was only 32 years old when he died. He died of cirrhosis of the liver. That's alcohol abuse. When you abuse so much alcohol, it just takes a toll on your body, and eventually your body just gives out. So I understand what it's like growing up without a father. I don't understand what it's like growing up with separated parents. So I've seen, I've known you for going on 20 years now. So I've seen you, how old are you?
33.
33. So you were 18 when we met.
Around 18, yeah.
So
high school.
With that high school, right? So I've seen you grow up as an adult with separated, parents. So I've seen it. My wife and her siblings also grew up in a similar situation with my father-in-law and my mother-in-law separated. So I know their experience as well. I had a stepdad. I grew up without my father. So, it was kind of a different situation. But you're saying that it made you tougher, and I can understand that. I could appreciate that. So what is your education like? Did you graduate high school? Did you go to college? What formal education do you have? Let's talk about that.
Well, I did elementary, mid school, high school. I did not graduate. Back in high school, my senior year, I got kicked out. I went to go live in La Puente with my dad. I didn't get along with my stepmom, so I kicked myself out. I went to go live with my cousins in La Puente, and I just didn't go to school.
What cousins were that?
Natalie, my cousin Natalie.
So my wife and my brother-in-law.
Yeah, your wife, one of my cousins. And from there, nobody told me what to do. I didn't go to school, and I didn't graduate. And after that, I just went from job to job to job, working in warehouses, trying to find a better job for me. Do
you remember what year that was?
That was back in 2021, 2022.
All right. So I know a lot of people can relate to this, right? Growing up, you drop out of high school. This is really popular with Hispanics in California, probably other parts of the country as well. But it's very popular here where they give up, right? I graduated high school. I have a little bit of college, but I know a lot of people that did not graduate high school. So you didn't graduate high school. You had conflict with your stepmom living with dad. You went to go live with my wife and my brother-in-law, and kind of nobody told you what to do. And you bounced around jobs trying to figure out how to make money, right? How to survive.
Exactly.
How to survive. So I'm sure a lot of people can relate. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. So what happened there? Talk to me about how you bounced around. What kind of jobs did you do? What years were these? And what was your experience?
Well, I was working since I was 20. Since I was able to legally work, I was working. I had a lot of jobs. Mostly I would have a job and I would either get fired for smoking weed, or I wouldn't go into work. It was an hourly job. I always had somebody telling me what to do, and I just found another better job. I found a better job until I said, what am I going to do with my life? I need to do something.
What kind of jobs were those?
Those were all warehouse jobs, unloading trailers. I worked in construction. I was in the union for a couple of years. I did restoration.
Did you like those jobs?
No, I did not like them. They were, I didn't like working hourly. I didn't like people telling me what to do, and they were hard jobs. It was rough.
Physical labor, hard physical jobs. All right. So what happened in the timeline? So I know that you ended up working for us many years ago. I started my first company in 2012. So do you remember when you first tried to do debt collections?
Yeah, I think I was freshly getting out of high school, and you had opened up your collection office, and all my other cousins were working there, and they were doing good. So I was like, oh, well, let me give it a try. And I went to go give it a try for about 3 months. I was on the phone, and I couldn't do it. I was straight out of high school. I was like, I'm not going to do this. I can't do this. And I just quit.
So I also want to add that our model has always been to have 1099 contractors commission only. So for the most part, we just started implementing a W-2 hourly pay model in the last few years. Probably, in the last 4 or 5 years is when we started doing that. So we're talking about 2012. We're talking about almost 14 years ago. And that's around the time when he started. So he started on 18, 19 years old, fresh out of high school or dropped out of high school.
Yep.
And he had a couple of warehouse jobs that he was not feeling, right? And he starts this commission only job as a 1099 contractor. And he's seen his cousins making money, being successful at it, making a decent amount of money. So he thought he could do it. He thought it was going to be easy, right? Is that what you thought?
Yeah. I thought, sitting down on a chair, answering phones, anybody could do that. It's just not for everybody. It's
not for everybody. So you quit, couldn't handle it. You couldn't handle the heat in the kitchen.
Nope.
So then what did you go do?
Then that's when I got a fire and restoration company. I worked for like 7 years. And after that, I wasn't getting paid good enough and I just quit.
How was that job?
It was rough. It was working 14, 15 hours a day. On the weekends, I had to be on call every other weekend. It was rough. It was like never spent time with my family. I would always miss special events because I had to work. And after that, I just quit. And I believe you still were running a collection office.
Yeah. I mean, we're always hiring. I'm always looking for the best talent that we could find. One thing that we look for is somebody that's tough, somebody that can handle rejection. We look for somebody that has a great attitude. And that's really all we need. A great attitude and somebody that's tough. Because if you have a shitty attitude and you're weak and the first rejection you get, you break, you're going to be useless to us. So he wanted to give it another try. By this time, we had a lot more cousins and a lot more people. The operation was growing and we had a lot of people that were making money, that were fairly successful. And, you know, they didn't have the discipline that he had working 14 hours a day. I think that he appreciated the opportunity more now because he worked at somewhere that was really working his ass off hard. You know, so he's like, dude, I'm working 14 hours a day sometimes. I'm missing holidays. I'm missing weekends. I'm getting paid, you know, garbage.
Minimum wage.
Like, come on, you know. And then he sees some relatives, like one of my brother-in-laws, where he works 6 hours a day. Sometimes, you know, he doesn't even come in because he's gambling at the casino or whatever.
That was one of the reasons why I wanted to join the collection companies, because I always seen my cousins go out, do what they want, make money.
$8,000-$10,000 a month, and like sometimes they wouldn't even come in on Mondays, you know, or they'll get paid, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think he appreciated the opportunity more now, the second time around. And what was your experience? Because this is 10 years later. You worked for 3 months. You're like, you had just dropped out of high school. You're like, this ain't for me.
No.
And you stopped. You gave up. You quit. And then 10 years later, you worked at a restoration company for 7 years, busting your ass. And for those other 3 years, other little miscellaneous warehouse jobs that you didn't like and they didn't pay well. And it was just all terrible. And then you come back 10 years later. What was that like?
I could say that it was something that changed my life. Coming back, knowing that you were opening up another collection office. I think you were opening up another branch. And I said, I need to take this opportunity. You know, I've been busting my ass off all these years. And then I believe COVID happened. And then that's when I really stopped working for like 1 whole year. And then that's when you open up the office. And I said, nope, I got to jump on this. And I started working for you, and that's changed my life.
Yeah. In 2019, I almost went out of business. 2020, I figured it out. I started doing a lot of self-development. I started learning from coaches and mentors and reading a lot of books and started learning more business. So I turned things around in 2020. It gave me the confidence to open another branch in 2021. And that's where you started, at the new branch.
Yeah.
So when you started there, what was the difference with your mindset and your attitude? Like, what was the difference 10 years later?
Well, I went in as a 1099 contractor. I didn't go in as hourly. That was one difference. You know, I had a set hour to go in. I had objectives to meet. It was different. Just being on the phone, looking at the money that's coming in. It's like, damn, this is financial freedom. I think I could do this. It's easy.
So did you take it more serious this time?
Oh yeah, I took it real serious. I seen the money that was coming in, and I said, nope, this is what I want to do.
So now you've been back at our agency, and what I did is I consolidated all the companies that we had. We had a couple small branches and then a bigger branch. So what we did last year is we consolidated all the companies and we created one big massive company called Empire Cooperative. So he was not accustomed to being with some of the other more experienced closers. He had some good talent on his team and his branch that he learned from, right? But when we consolidated last year, do you think that helped you?
Oh yeah, that helped me a lot. Uniting to one team, like getting to know all the closers in the office and the environment, the team that we had, like it felt like we were one empire.
So you're one of my most consistent collectors. We have collectors that can make, and they're all 1099 contractors, commission only. We have contractors that can make $8,000 one month, and then the next month they only make $2,000. We have collectors that can make $6,000 one month, and then the next month they make $1,000, and then the following month they make $3,000. It's so inconsistent. The thing about Joseph is that he's very consistent. He's always between $6,000 and $8,000 of income to his pocket of commissions. So his average is about $7,000 a month. That's what he makes average. So Joseph, can you talk to us about what is the key to your consistency?
It's just showing up to work, showing up, getting up, not being lazy, being consistent, being disciplined. You just got to keep going to work. You got to show people that, making a lot of money is not going to stop you. You have to be consistent because some months you do have a good month, and then some months you don't have you have a bad month. And it's like every dog has its day,
I like that. Every dog has its day. So how hard is the job? Can you talk to us about what your day looks like?
It's not for everybody. It's very easy. Like I said, it's just being on the phones and,
What time do you get to work?
I try to get there between 6 and 7. And I try to stay there between like 6 to 8 hours a day. But with this type of line of work, you need to be there like 8 hours a day picking up the phones. You just need to be picking up the phones every day.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game, yep.
So I know you said that you have good months, you have bad months, you have good days, you have bad days. How does that make you feel when you're having a bad day?
It's bad because you see other people making money. People are popping 10,000, 15,000 making money, and you're right here like, it's like, what am I doing wrong? But you just can't, you got to keep going.
So it messes with your head?
It messes with your head.
With your emotions? And how do you bounce back from that?
You just ignore it. You say, oh, well, I'm next. I'm going to be the one next. I'm going to get that next payment.
So what I'm hearing is that maintaining a positive mindset.
Positive.
And being consistent and disciplined. Because when you're a contractor, all of my 1099s, I don't manage them at all. They manage themselves. They're like entrepreneurs working within my organization. So what I provide is leadership, vision, direction, tools, and resources, but I don't manage them. They all work for themselves within our organization. So they're not required to be there at any certain time. They can come in at 10 o'clock if they want.
No.
It doesn't matter, right? So what I'm hearing from you is that discipline to be at work, to be there, to be picking up the phones, to focus on volume, and to maintain a positive mindset, even when you're struggling and you're not making any money. That's the key to your success.
And have confidence in yourself.
Confidence. I love that. Have confidence.
That's what it is. Because if you don't have confidence in yourself, you're just going to keep beating yourself up on the phone. Like, this is not going to, he's not going to pay me. He's not going to pay me. He's not going to pay me. But if you stay positive, he's going to pay me. He's going to pay me. One of those ones is going to pay. Yeah, I'll pay $10,000 right now.
Everybody talks to themselves in their heads. Everybody tells themselves things, right? Just like talking to somebody else, you're having thoughts and you're talking to yourself. Does that happen to you?
Every day.
Every day, all
my
day?
brain don't stop. Even when I'm sleeping, it's still trying.
What are you telling yourself? On bad days, on good days, on days that you're lazy, on days that you're on top of the world, that you just had a $6,000 check in 2 weeks, because I know you've had those.
Yeah.
What do you tell yourself?
I tell myself, don't give up. There's other people out there doing it. They're doing the same thing you're doing. Different schedule, different, just staying positive.
Just keep going.
Just keep going.
What are you expecting this year?
I want to hit over 100,000 this year.
In personal income?
In personal income, yeah.
All right. So one thing that I'll tell you is setting targets is the most important thing, right? So in order for you to make $100,000 a year, how much do you have to make a month? And what does that translate to money collected? So for example, let's say that your target is $120,000 this year in income, which is $10,000 a month. How much do you have to collect to your number in order to make $10,000 a month?
I believe like 45?
40.
40.
40, because they get paid 25% commission. So if he collects $40,000 to his collection number, 25% of that is 10 grand. So if you hit a 40 every single month, you will make $120,000 this year. It's inevitable.
And that's my goal.
And that's your goal.
Plus 40. To hit over 40.
Yeah. So if you focus on hitting a 50 every single month, even if you have a bad month, if you're focused on 50, you might end up at 45 or 40K, right? And we know that it's possible because, excuse me, we have collectors that average this last year in 2024, we have collectors, our top producers, that averaged $15,000 a month to their pocket. That was their commission. That's what they averaged. They might have had a month where they made 12 grand. They might have had a month where they made 17 grand.
Yeah.
Their average was roughly 15,000. So is it possible? If it's been done before, that means it's possible.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one thing to focus on. That's just advice that I'm going to give you. And even if you fall short of your target, if you're shooting for a very high target, it's going to help you maintain the mindset of discipline. So you're like, hey, look, this is what you're telling yourself. You're like, hey, look, I have to hit 50,000 this month, so I can't miss today. Or I have to hit 50,000 this month, so I cannot be late today. That's going to help you maintain a disciplined mindset, right? And I do the same thing. I'm like, look, what's my target? $30 million this year in collection revenue is my target. What does that mean? That means that every trip that I take this year, it better be business and it better be driving impact. I can't afford to take vacations and travel just for the fuck of it. If I'm traveling, there better be money behind it, right? And these are conversations that I've had with Natalie as well. And waking up in the morning, it's like 6:30, right? It's cold outside. I'm so warm in bed. I went to sleep late last night. Like, I could go in late, but I know that that's going to affect my target. So that's the way I think of it. So I know that on my social media, since we spend so much time together, my biggest platform is Instagram. That's where I put a lot of my personal life and things that I'm doing. And you come out in a lot of my posts because we spend so much time together.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about really quick before we wrap it up. I want to talk about your fitness journey, your health and your nutrition in 2024. I'm very proud of you, not just in business, what you've accomplished in the last 3 years. I'm very proud of you for that. But I'm even more proud of you for your fitness that you focused on last year.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what triggered that in your head? How are you feeling? How have you stayed disciplined? How much weight have you lost? What are the results?
Well, yeah, my fitness journey started last year, 2024, I believe at the end of April. I believe at the end of, that was my birthday month. And I was just looking at photos and I was like, damn, I'm fat, I'm big. And I just said, that's when you were starting your gym. And I said, that's it. I got to cold turkey, stopped drinking for 3 months. I stopped drinking soda. I stopped doing everything. We were at a get together at your house, and you were like, you know what? I'm gonna stop drinking. And then you had challenged me. You said, well, challenge you, stop drinking with me, and I'll take you to Cancun with me. I was like, bet. I could do that. And then that's another reason why I started my fitness journey, because I was like, oh, I could do this. I'm, no drinking, no nothing, plus the gym. I ended up losing like 45 pounds in 3 months.
Fuck yeah.
I lost so much weight.
What did you weigh before?
I weighed to like 245, 250, and right now I'm at 200. My lowest that I did get to was 195.
Good. I'm very, very, very proud of you. So what does that discipline look like? What kind of mindset do you have to have for that? What like really pushed you to do that?
Being fat, me looking at my photos, looking how fat I was, how chubby I was. That's what really pushed me. I didn't realize how fat I was until I seen how skinny I got. And then now just, it's hard to keep up, to keep going to the gym every day. Right after work, you're tired, you just want to go home. But as long as you go to the gym and put an hour in, that's all you need to do is show up. It's just like going to work. You just got to show up.
What about food?
Food, that's the hardest part. Drinking, I do drink. I try not to drink during the week. Food, I'm trying to find my diet, but that's the hard part, is the diet.
I know, bro. Who you telling?
The diet, but
that's what I always say. It's like the working out part is easy, especially for people like me and you. We're pretty fucking disciplined, right? But where we're not disciplined is on the alcohol and on the nutrition side, on what we eat.
Yeah.
So when we rolled up to the gym this morning, I just told you this year I'm trying a different diet, because when you're counting macros and you're going very low on your fat, that's the most difficult part. It's not the calories, it's not the carbs, it's not even the protein, it's the fat. Being able to consume that much protein with so low fat, that's what was very challenging for me last year. So a couple of different trainers, shout out to Carter, he's the one that I'm working with right now. Carter is explaining to me that he's putting me on a different diet where I have to go high protein and not no carbs, but rather low carbs, right? So what my macros look like, for those of you that, it's the beginning of the year, you want to try this fitness thing. When it comes to nutrition, I'm at 245 grams of protein a day. That's a lot of protein that I'm consuming a day, right? It's 100 carbs max, and then 100 grams of fat max. That's a lot of fat. It's a lot of fat. Now, I'm going based off of my body size right now and my results that I'm looking to have this year. But I know for sure, because you and I struggle with the same things, I know that diet would work for you. It's just focusing on trying not to consume carbs. You can have some, because we gotta be able to maintain our nutrition and our discipline, and it has to be sustainable. But going like no carbs, that's very, very, very difficult. So at least having 100 grams of carbs, hey, you can have, like yesterday, I had a little piece of donut. Like I had a protein brownie. That's like all the carbs I had all day. And I have 100 carbs a day. I only used 50 of them with the little piece of donut and with a brownie. Wow. And I can use 100. Yeah. So if I really wanted to, I could have had some glass noodles at the Korean barbecue. If I really wanted to, I could have had a little bit of white rice, but I didn't want to. I don't want to have those carbs, right? I think that diet would work for you.
High protein, low carbs.
High protein, low carbs. Yeah, and then also on the fat, we can't have In-N-Out all day because it has a lot of fat. So mix in some fish, shrimp, scallops, turkey breast, chicken breast. Mix that in with some of the beef that you have, because beef has a lot of fat. Yeah. So if you mix that in together, right, you'll hit your protein, your high protein, keeping your fat under 100 grams. Even the fat, I was at 75. I didn't use all my 100 grams yesterday, right? So I know that's gonna help you, and I wanted to share that with you on camera so that people that are struggling like we struggle. Alcohol, same thing. Yeah. We said that we're not gonna drink until my son's 21st birthday, which is on the 10th. So let's just not drink for 10 days.
Nope.
And even that day when we drink, let's have 3-4 drinks max. Try to drink something that's low carb. Try to drink something that is not too much in sugar. We're not having fucking margaritas and old fashions. You know, we'll have a couple of Michelobs and maybe a couple shots of tequila, and that's it.
That's it.
Right? And then we'll stop again for another 10 days. You know, my trainer said that that's healthy because it takes 3 days to get the alcohol out of your system. And then it takes like another 4 days for your body to readjust its energy to burn calories. So when you drink alcohol, it's slowing down your metabolism. It's harder for us to burn fat.
It's good to know.
Exactly.
It's good to know.
So Joseph, where can they follow you? If one thing that you do very well is promoting yourself without even trying, without even being intentional, you just promote yourself on Instagram, on social media. Is that your biggest platform?
Yeah, I'm always on social media posting all kinds of dumb stuff, funny stuff about the company, about vacation, whatever it is. It's
working out, eating.
It's going to be on there.
Where can they find you?
You can find me at BigJoe_91.
So another huge win that you had last year, a huge win that is obvious to everyone in the family and friends and everybody that follows us. When you started working out towards the end of the year, you met someone. Talk to us about that real quick.
Yeah, I started working out, and it was probably like the last when I was already looking real good, fit, and I met somebody, and you know, I met a special somebody, and now I'm in a relationship, you know, with the beautiful girl that I met. And it's maybe because I bettered myself. I went to the gym. I wanted to feel better, look better, and better things came to me.
So one thing that I noticed is you do a great job of promoting your life and your lifestyle and your personality and who you are on social media, on Instagram. You do a great job of that, right? So last year you started promoting your fitness journey. You promote how serious you take your job. You promote how much you love your family, how much you like spending time with all the cousins and with your mom, with your dad, with your nephew. People see the traveling. You know, we travel as a family a lot. Yeah. People see that, right? I think that was very attractive on your social media. And I think that was a big part of why you found a special person and why now you're in a relationship, right? I think that without even saying it, women like the discipline. Women like to know that Joseph is at work every single fucking morning by 7 a.m. Without a doubt, he will be there. They like to see Joseph will be at the gym every fucking day at 3:30 and on the weekends in the morning. People like to see that Joseph loves spending time with his cousins, with his nephew, with his mom. Joseph loves to travel. Joseph takes life serious. He has fun and he's going places, right?
Yep.
So I want to give you a huge shout out for that. So with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed learning more about our cousin Joseph, learning more about what it takes for somebody to be successful in our collection agency. One of my most consistent collectors, one of my most respected and loved top closers in our company. And till next time, guys, make sure you subscribe, you like, you follow us, comment. If you guys want us to keep bringing the fire, you guys got to comment. Yep. So thanks again, Joe. I love your ass. I'm proud of you. See you guys next time.
Get it.